Hello, I'd like to access my bank.
Sorry, sir. You'll have to wait a bit. We're still opening and not quite ready. Could you come back in an hour?
Seems to me like you're standing right there and could open my bank for me, so do it.
Sorry, sir. I can't.
Why not?
If the bank is open too soon, it'll set off an alarm and
Can I speak to a manager, please?
What?
Your manager.
I am the branch manager.
Alright. Look, I have been lugging around all of my possessions, every single thing I have ever owned, for 6 long months. I have stuffed ore literally everywhere I could and walked all the way from Lumbridge to Varrock and back again hundreds of times. I have dropped a powerful, ancient sword on the ground and left it in the dirt because I literally could not spare the capacity to carry it any further. This place is finally going to let me deposit more than just coins. I can finally get some relief. I can finally store the things that are important or useful to me.
Wow. That's so sad.
Now can I open my bank, please?
Sure thing.
Thank God.
In exactly 58 minutes.
Ah! RuneScape has changed much in the 20 years since its initial release. Many of us long for that magical experience it provided when we first started playing. My quest is to recreate that experience by playing a time-locked Ironman. In order to progress forward in time, I'll have to experience all of the content as it is released on a month-to-month basis. My name is Kudabear, and welcome to Time Traveller Ironman. In July of 2001, RuneScape saw one of the most game-changing and important updates of all time, the ability to store items in the bank. Gone were the days of managing inventory all day, and instead players were able to store large numbers of resources and useful items. As expected, this caused drastic changes to happen in the meta, and players began exploring new methods of training efficiently. They would need to in order to get access to the new highest tier of equipment released by JX, Runite. The newly released powerful armor and weapons could be purchased from the Champions Guild, but the price was steep. There was also one mysterious piece only obtained from a certain monster that would need to be hunted down separately. Finally, the game saw its third guild, the Monastery, which included the first prayer boosting equipment the game had to offer. This month will be one of the most amazing yet. Are you ready to go? Let's get started with July 2001. So here we are at the bank. If you remember a couple of episodes ago, I said this. Again, the bank existed, but only at this location, and it turns out I was completely wrong. I was reviewing some old RuneScape Classic maps, and it turns out that the Varrock West Bank was actually the first bank in Varrock to exist. So I was using the wrong bank entirely. However, this will be really convenient for something I've got planned. But first, let's go ahead and access the bank and deposit all of our equipment. This is going to be wonderful. I no longer have to get rid of all this stuff and reobtain it every time I need it. Oh, this is such an amazing change. So a couple of caveats about the bank. Generally speaking, I'm going to try to not use things that were added after the bank was added in regards to quality of life. Things like deposit all inventory, deposit worn equipment, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to use it until it's released. However, I'm sure there are quality of life things that I will wind up using here that I'm not able to hide from the UI. Generally speaking, I would allow them anyway, but because some of the things had a specific toggle that I could turn off, I figured I'd turn them off until the point when they're released. Also, one thing that I won't be using is tabs, as that's going to be pretty easy to ignore. Oh, and also, I won't be using banknotes until RS2 release, though I don't think that'll be super important, as banknotes won't be super useful for me. And the last thing is, I'm actually going to be restricting myself to 48 bank spaces until I hit a point where bank space is increased. It was actually only 48 spaces until I believe the launch of members, and then it doubles, and then there's some updates after that I've got that I'll be tracking and trying not to exceed. Though there's not that many items, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, of course. It is going to be incredible to know that I can store things like the Amulet of Strength and Magic and not have to get rid of them. Also things like runes. It'll be in food I can stock up in here. It'll be incredible. But it's time to go ahead and get started with the first major grind of July 2001. So, let's talk about crafting. In May, I said I was going to take an excessive grinding exception and stop at 50 crafting instead of going all the way to 70. This made a lot of sense in the context of just May, but not if you look toward the future. Spoiler alert here, in February of 2002, the Glory Amulet will be released with a steep 80 crafting requirement. Whereas I could justify not getting the Power Amulet, as it is only a slight benefit over the Strength Amulet in some situations, the Glory Amulet is a massive upgrade and a very iconic item. To pass on that would be against the spirit of the game mode, in my opinion. Therefore, with the 80 crafting grind on the horizon, I'll need to do anything I can to prepare. Thankfully, July 2001 came with it the Holy Symbol, the first ever silver jewelry crafting. This, coupled with the item bank being unlocked, is a massive buff to crafting training. So much in fact, that it reduces the total time for 70 crafting from 200 hours down to about 100. In order to keep the crafting training split over multiple episodes, I'm going to make the Power Amulet a requirement for this month by utilizing this new method. This also serves a secondary purpose. I need to earn 135,000 gold in order to purchase all of the rune items I need for this month. Because holy symbols have a decent value in the general store, I will be able to sell them to easily afford all this Runite equipment. Furthermore, I will receive a decent amount of mining and smithing experience passively that should prove useful in future months. So this is home for the next long while. Thankfully it's pretty familiar. I was just over here working on the clay rocks a couple months ago. I'm also probably going to have to be world hopping a little bit, as there are only 3 rocks here and I bet I'll be able to mine them out consistently before they respawn. So I'm going to be using the World Switcher plugin. In July there was 2 additional servers added, so there's up to 6. I think after this point I'm going to stop tracking how many worlds I'm hopping, as it's just not worth it, and honestly 6 worlds I'll probably never run out of worlds. If you're not familiar, swapping worlds back in the day was a lot harder. You had to basically exit out of this client and log into another client. It wasn't that bad though. If you just opened 2 separate clients, one to each world, you would just have to enter your credentials again. So slightly annoying, but honestly not that much slower. But here we go, 5 down and 13,000 to go. And I already got a sapphire, so that's nice. I'll be able to bank these gems finally and use them later. Alright, there's 60 mining, which is the requirement to enter the mining guild. But unfortunately that's not released until next month, even though it wouldn't really be that useful anyway since I'm mining silver. I also got a ruby, which is pretty handy. Glad to get that, but I really do need a diamond. And just to show you how things are going, this will be just over 10% of the ore I need for 70 crafting, so not going too bad. Honestly, I'm already 8 hours in and it doesn't even feel like it's been that long. So it's actually been a long time since the last clip. It's been about 2 weeks of real time and just under 20 hours of gameplay time. So you can see that the grind is not going quite as fast as I would have hoped. But this is actually a pretty interesting milestone. It's about 1/3 of the way there, but more importantly, this is actually about 26 hours of mining. And that's equivalent to the amount of time that I spent mining clay in the previous month. So I've already surpassed my longest grind, and I am on to an even longer one, really. The only thing to do is to keep moving forward. Unfortunately, no sign of a diamond yet. I am still likely to hit the drop rate before being done with this grind, so hopefully we'll get it. So the next couple clips you're going to see here have post commentary on them. I was unable to access my desk at the time, so I didn't want to take a lower quality audio recording and just figured I'd do it here in post. But basically, in this clip, I just go deposit this load of silver, and the number you see there is very important, as that's exactly halfway. That is half the silver required for this grind. And here you can see the gem count. No diamond yet either, all the way up to 65 mining. And it was shortly after I hit halfway that I actually saw a shooting star land right next to me. Kind of freaked me out. The update came out after I had started this grind. And a very monumentous occasion here. Depositing this load of silver pushes me over the 10k mark. That is 10,000 silver. And during the mining grind, a dragon impling flew by. Can't catch that for a very long time, but it was still cool to see. just need to click one more rock. One more last silver rock. And that's 70 mining. This clip is actually a full month ahead of the beginning of this grind. I actually checked the dates on the clips. It's been exactly 1 month to the day. And I'm finally done mining silver. Let's go take a look at the bank. So, I actually did go above and beyond a little bit of what I needed just to get all the way up to 70 mining. If I ended at the exact amount of silver I would have needed, I would have been just below 70 mining, and it didn't feel right to leave it there. So I went ahead and got 70. This will get me over 70 crafting right here. Though, you probably noticed there is one very critical component to this grind that's still missing. We've got sapphires, we've got emeralds, we've got rubies, but not a single diamond. So unfortunately, it is extremely unlikely for me to have gone this dry on getting a diamond. Considering that the silver takes me about 2 attempts to mine successfully at my mining level, that means that I get about 2 gem rolls per silver ore you see here, meaning I got about 26,000 attempts at a diamond. So considering that and running a probability calculation, you can see that I am 80% likely to have received at least 1 diamond from this grind, and I did not find it. I'm actually really low on gems in general. Based on this, I would have expected to see more like 25 sapphires, something like 12 or 13 emeralds, though I did get a lot of extra rubies. I should have only seen about 4 or 5 of those. So unfortunately, this is really bad news. If I were to go another whole drop rate dry for the diamond, that means I'm still 20 to 25 hours away from having a diamond, and that's really the best way for me to get one. I was really hoping to get one for free through mining the silver, and it's really unfortunate that I didn't. So here we are. As you remember in the May crafting episode, I went over the fact that you actually get more gem rolls from an ore that you have a lower chance to mine, as you spend more time actually mining the ore and not walking between rocks. So I'm going to stay here in the Dwarven mine and mine these Mithril rocks and Adamant rocks, which I can bank upstairs in the city of Falador, and hope that that gives me the quickest possible diamond that I could. It will be handy to have these ores banked for the future, as well as they will be able to produce a lot of money and smithing experience, so that'll be really handy. Unfortunately, the King Scorpion will be super annoying. The good news is this should be a lot more AFK than the silver grind, as I will be able to click on the rock and wait for a lot longer. So here I will be for hopefully not 25 hours. No. So I do have to walk all the way over to the west side of Falador in order to bank the ore, but even just this inventory took me close to 30 minutes, so the walking is definitely not going to be the long part, it's going to be the mining, which is the whole point. Alright, this is kind of ridiculous. Look at this inventory. I've got 1 of each of the gems other than the one I actually want. Granted, that one's much more rare, but still, that is painful to look at.
1 eternity later.
Oh man. That's 71 mining. Done basically entirely on coal, some gold, and some adamant and mithril. I'm getting about 3,000 to 4,000 experience per hour here, which means that it was about 20 hours of mining to get from 70 to 71. And as you can tell, I still haven't received a diamond. I'm well over 100 hours in at this point and still haven't received it. That's just going on rough calculations, about 4 times drop rate. It's pretty unfortunate, but I guess I just will keep at it and see you at 72 or sooner, hopefully. It happened. I've got the diamond. I'm so happy. That's so amazing. Over 4 times dry on the drop rate. It was only, I think, about 4,000 experience from the last clip you saw of me getting 71 mining. So really only about an hour. I am so happy. Let me go show you the ores that I've mined. Alright, there we are. So I swapped it up, started mining gold and coal as I thought The Mithril and Adamant would only be so useful without coal, because I don't really have a good source of coal other than mining it for a long time. Also, the gold would be extremely useful for making jewelry in the future, so it was worth getting a little bit now. Oh, but if I throw in that diamond, there it is. I can finally make the power amulets. Well, first I have to smelt 13,000 silver, but at least that's a determinate amount of time, and I don't mind that at all. If you take a glance at the other gems I've gotten, 24 sapphires, 12 rubies, 13 emeralds. I'm way over drop rate on rubies for some reason, which is really frustrating after going dry on it in the initial 50 crafting grind. I'm not really going to do anything with these gems just yet. I'm going to save them until the future date at which other jewelry becomes available, like rings of recoil, rings of forging, and dueling rings. That's a long time down the road, but the really only use for them at the current moment is amulets, and I obviously only need one of each, so I won't be using them. It's so amazing. I'm so happy. Literally 110 hours to get this diamond. Thankfully, most of it was also spent getting the silver, but oh my goodness, that was so long. It feels so good to be coming here. Realized I never even went to the crafting store to pick up the Holy Amulet mold. While I'm here, I'll also get the regular amulet mold, as I'll need that for the power amulet, and a chisel to cut the gems. Alright, this almost feels weird. This is like 5 weeks after I started mining in order to get the silver for this goal, and I'm finally smelting. I've had it in mind to use this furnace from the beginning though, as the only two banks in the game are of course Varrock and Falador, and thankfully there is a furnace pretty close to the Falador bank. It kind of makes this whole grind worth doing, where I actually banked the ore instead of just smelting it immediately in Algarid. So I'll be here working through my 13,000 silver ore, and it's going to take a while, but at least it's a fixed amount of time. It's going to be amazing. Just pluck away all the way up to 70 crafting. Let's go. I'm so excited to craft. There's 50 smithing. I'm actually going to get a decent amount of smithing experience from this grind, which is amazing. But 50 is nice because now I can smelt that mithril I have in the bank. Though I probably won't do it just yet. I'll wait for something more efficient in the future, or if I actually need more smithing levels. I'll probably just sit in the bank for now. So just doing some rough calculations here, I'm doing just about 500 ore an hour. It's a little bit slower than I thought, I guess because I was calculating in my head about the time to just smith or smelt, not to do both. But I can save some time by doing both at the furnace in one trip. So it's going to take a little bit longer than expected to do all of the smelting and crafting. So around about 25 hours, 26 hours to do all the silver, unfortunately. But it's very chill, and I'm happy to know that after that time I will be done for sure. Alright, 60 crafting. Not a huge milestone. Actually, in fact, there's no milestones between 50 and 70 crafting at this point in time. Though I was thinking that these crafting levels will be really handy to have in the future. As you can see, I can make green dragonhide chaps as just an example of one thing that might come in handy later down the road. So glad to have it. Only about 6 hours in so far. Still have quite a ways to go. One really nice thing about this grind is I'm getting a lot of passive smithing experience. I'm already all the way up to 54 smithing, and I'm not even halfway done with the actual crafting. This is a really notable level as it allows me to craft the mithril short swords that I mentioned a while ago. These are the most amount of GP per mithril bar that I can make. It's over 500 coins per bar, so that's incredible. I'll likely be making the mithril ore that I mined into mithril swords at some point when I need more money, if I don't wind up holding on to them for something else down the road when I have more options available to smith them. But there's nothing really else that I'll be smithing out of mithril, I don't think, other than maybe ammunition, as that might come in handy. The other thing that I unlocked on the way that I didn't realize I would be getting is the ability to smith a Mithril Axe. So I'll be smithing one of those, even though it's not particularly useful for a while. That'll be super nice to have, as obviously the most efficient one I can buy is a steel axe. So having access to a mithril this early on will be amazing. Alright, there's 64 crafting, which is not notable on its own, but it is just under halfway to 70 from 50. So that's pretty exciting. Just about halfway done. Feeling pretty good about this so far. So I had to look through my clips I've taken for this video so far. I took the very first clip for this episode on April 11th, 2021. It is currently May 25th, 2021. That means I've spent over 6 weeks on this grind. Now, a big part of that was just being really busy, but also the amount of hours this took was just absolutely ridiculous. I've never done something quite like this on this game, and it was all for only 70 crafting, the level required to make Amulets of Power. What a journey. So when I started, I was actually only 57 mining and 49 smithing. So those are some pretty nice passive gains to have gotten, but man, it took forever. Let's go ahead and look at the bank here. I got a little bit over the silver I needed, just so I'd have more silver bars than I would know what to do with for a long time. But here is the stack of unstrung symbols. How much is this going to be worth? I'm so excited. So they're not quite worth that much. I think in the general store, once the stock is saturated, they sell for 20 each. So realistically, this is only like 370,000 coins, but that will be plenty of money to fuel everything I need for this month, and hopefully for a couple future months as well. And that was definitely one reason why I wanted to do this now. So it's time to take all these amulets down to the general store and sell them. It's going to be a lot of money. Let's go ahead and do this. Alright, that's where I'm going to go ahead and stop. This should give me enough money to buy all of the equipment that I need for this month, as well as buy runes to take on the next grind. I'm going to go ahead and leave 2,000 in my inventory, as if I'm ever really pinched for cash, I can slow sell these instead and get a lot more for them. Also, if I happen to still have them around the time that one of the higher priced general stores is released, such as the Ardoin West general store, I can sell them for increased profit there as well. So I think it's worth holding on to them. So let's go ahead and do a shopping trip. Here in the Champions Guild exists a store run by Scavo, and this store sells the most powerful new equipment to be yet released, and that is Rune. You can go ahead and buy the Rune plate legs, the Rune chain body, and the Rune sword. Let's go ahead and throw these things on. Absolutely incredible. I feel so powerful. This is amazing. As long as I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and sell this adamant plate body back to Valaline, but that's in a good 6k refund. I'll probably just save the plate legs to High Elk later on. Alright, the rune has been accomplished. That was the main money grind for this episode, so it is at least nice to have it done passively. Let's go buy some runes and I'll explain what we'll do next. So, of course, we need a Cosmic Rune in order to finish making the Amulet of Power. So I'm back here at the Ice Warriors, of course, as I believe they're still the best place to get just one Cosmic Rune drop. So I'll be here till I get one. One interesting comment that someone had on one of the previous episodes is that autocasting wasn't a thing back in Classic, and I'm not exactly sure how I want to handle it, as I usually allow quality of life and UI upgrades, as they usually don't impact the gameplay at all. They just make it more convenient. Like, it's not any faster to cast this way, it just makes it so that I don't have to be constantly looking at the screen and clicking. However, I usually don't allow these things when it's very easy to not use them. Like, for example, I don't use running not only because it makes things faster, but because if I just don't click the button, that means that I won't be running. So in this case, I could just not enable autocasting and then just use the spellbook like you would have had to in Classic. Let me know down in the comments what you think about autocasting. I'm going to autocast for this episode, but if the opinion is strong that I should be disallowing it until the release of RuneScape 2, I'd be glad to turn it off. Well, that was incredibly easy. I think it was 3 kills. Well, 7 actually. They went a lot faster than expected. But yeah, I'll take it, especially after going so dry last time. Got the Cosmic Runes. Let's go ahead and make the Amulet of Power. Of course, we have to stop here and get the Balls of Wool for the Power Amulet. I went ahead and got a bunch of extras, as now that I have a bank, I can actually store these for future use, so I figured that was definitely worth doing. Definitely don't enjoy walking all the way up to Varrock for the bank, though. I'll be excited when there will be a couple more banks released in a couple months. A quick detour actually to the monastery, which was newly added this month. if I go ahead and talk to Abbot Langley here, I will be able to have access to the upstairs, which was added, and there's something up there that I need. So with 31 prayer, I can access upstairs, and up here is the Monk's Robe, which is a really amazing, nice upgrade, as it gives me a pretty massive prayer increase, all the way up to 11 prayer just from that. And honestly is probably one of the first prayer boosting items. The other thing that I can get up here is if I use the ball of wool on the unstrung symbol, I can string it into a unblessed symbol, and then talking to Brother Jared up here, he will be able to bless it for me to get a holy symbol. The holy symbol gives me a extra boost of 8 prayer, putting me up to plus 19 prayer just for these 3 items, which is amazing to have. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and collect a couple more sets of Monk's Robes, as I feel like they will be useful in the future in situations where I might lose them. Then the last thing I can do up here is there's actually a special altar that when prayed at, boosts your prayer at 2 points over its max, which will be pretty useful if I ever need a couple extra prayer points for something. Okay, so let's go on and craft this power amulet. Back at the Falador furnace one more time. Go ahead and chop that diamond that I spent so long to get. Because with my newly acquired crafting level, I can smelt this diamond amulet unstrung, string it, and then cast level 4 enchant. And we have an Amulet of Power. And of course for ranging, this is the only amulet other than the Amulet of Accuracy that provides a ranging bonus, so it'll be best in slot for ranging for me for a good number of months. So happy to have it. It was definitely a grind, and not something I want to do again. So in order to kill lesser demons, I'm actually going to use magic. I could use the rune and it would probably hold up pretty well, but I don't think I'll be able to get many kills even on a full inventory of food, and with the amount of time that will take to get food and probably kill them at the same speed or even slower, I think it's just better for me to use magic. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've got enough casts here to get the drop rate amount of kills. I think I need just over 3,000 fire strikes on average to hit the drop rate for the rune med. So hopefully we don't go dry on this. It should hopefully be pretty quick. Alright, here we are, at least for the next little while. So there are 3 armor drops from lesser demons that are 1 out of 128. One of them is the Mithril Square Shield. One of them is the Mithril Train Body. And one of them is the rune med helm. So it'll be interesting to see how many of the other pieces I get. There's another Mithril Square Shield. No. Gosh dang it. It happened. I got both, other than the one I wanted. I mean, I'm only at 53 kill count right now, so I can't complain too much, but that's just not cool. Gosh dang it, another Mithril Square Shield. Alright, I just missed it, but I did kill the 128th demon, and I have not yet received the rune med. I have a good number of casts left here, though it's probably only going to be like another 10 kills or so. Hopefully I'll get in those 10 kills, otherwise I'll have to go get more runes. Gosh dang it, very next kill. Why does it have to be blue? It looked like it was the med. Wow, incredible. Actually got it with only 172 casts left. I will take it. That is absolutely amazing. 146 was the total KC for this, so not too dry. And I am so happy, as I really didn't want to go dry for one more thing this episode. That means that we're all done with July 2001, including the arbitrary goal I set myself. Here we are, the end of a journey. July 2001 is complete. Largely made long by my goal of getting the Amulet of Power, but it should make things a lot more easy in the coming months. So that was worth getting out of the way now, even if it did take a full 6 weeks. As for unlocks this month, of course, we got the full rune. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just the medium helmet and there's no shield, but this will be incredibly powerful to have for the coming months as well. Also got that Amulet of Power, which I'm really happy to have, and a holy symbol, which might come in handy if I ever need to have only prayer. I'm going to go ahead and drop this Amulet of Accuracy, as I don't need it anymore. The Amulet of Power is an upgrade in every way. So we're going to retire that Amulet of Accuracy, best in slot from March till now, I guess. Well, I guess technically this was released in May. We will definitely miss it. So checking with Hans here, the total amount of playtime for my account has almost doubled with this month. actually spent 156 hours just on this month, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. That's 6.5 days straight, and greatly outclasses anything I've done before on this account, all thanks to that crafting grind. So that's where we're going to go ahead and leave off July 2001. August comes with the most iconic quest ever released in RuneScape's history, and I am so excited to be able to go on that journey with you. If you liked the video, definitely let me know, leave a comment below, leave a like on the video, or subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.